Hello again, everyone. I'm here to continue my conversation with you, sharing with you the news about the remodeling project going on in some of the rooms that are adjacent to the main church, adjacent to the main sanctuary. So in my previous video, I shared with you the remodeling work going on in the St. Anthony room to turn that into a combination sacristy for the chapel, as well as a work sacristy for the space that our art and environment people need for their important service to the parish. And an additional part of that project off the St. Anthony room is the fabrication of a second confessional, using the room that up until now has been the lower sacristy for the chapel. Since we're vacating that space for the new sacristy and work sacristy being made out of the St. Anthony room, we have now that former sacristy can be turned into another confessional for an appropriate place for that important sacrament. Since we have two priests here to have that space that provides confidentiality and privacy, I think is something that you'll value and I know is important to all of us. We hear a number of confessions here at this parish. Work for the last part of this remodeling project will take place in a room off of the narthex. So to understand what's happening up here, you need to know that two of the rooms off the narthex are, one, the bride's room, and second, what I call the upper sacristy, because its elevation is higher up here off the narthex than down below in the church. We've always had a lower sacristy for the chapel and an upper sacristy for where the priests and deacons vest and keep their vestments for weekend masses. And so we're now going to finally outfit the space up here to be a proper sacristy. Back a couple years ago, 2.5 now almost, what you need to know is I switched the rooms. What had been the bride's room and what had been the upper sacristy switched rooms. And I did that because when I got to thinking of the space that we have up here, you can easily imagine that each and every single weekend and multiple times a weekend, given the number of masses, the priests and the deacons need space for their vestments and space to get ready for Mass and all the things that take place and all the things we use for Masses. The space that had been the upper sacristy up until now was really too small. And when I considered that we need that space for Masses every single weekend and multiple times a weekend, and that we could make an appropriate bride's room out of the former upper sacristy, it seemed wise to me and a good use of space that we would switch those rooms. So we have behind me here, and through that door is what is now the new bride's room. We've made that space certainly appropriate and sufficient for a bride's needs as she gets ready on her wedding day, and it's a good use of that space. But that switch provided us the opportunity to use the other room, which gives us more room to make this the upper sacristy. So the work that will finish this remodeling project here in the church is going to take place in here. This is now the upper sacristy, but I trust you can see it's really an organizational mess. The room was not made to be a sacristy. It's simply a room. And right now we have things all over the place that don't have a home and don't have storage space because the room needs to be outfitted properly as a sacristy. So the work in here will be much simpler than the work taking place in the St. Anthony room, but important nonetheless. In here we will be adding closet space, countertop space, drawers and cabinets, bookshelves for all the different things that are needed for vestments and for the rituals and the books that we use for those things. We'll be able to have a proper storage space up here, and will be sufficient room for the number of clerics we have in the parish. So we presently have 4 clerics and another part-time priest who's with us, myself, Father Bali, the 2 deacons, and the part-time priest who comes and assists us with Spanish ministry. So this will be the completion of that project. I think it's a very worthy use of the space up here off the narthex. Will put us in good stead to have the things we need for what is our most important activity as a parish, and that is the worship of God. So I wanted to let you know what's happening up here so that you can be aware of what's going on in your parish and see what we're doing and share the excitement. Thanks for your interest and thanks for your support.